Alright, welcome back. If you watched my last video, part 1, you would have seen at the end of that clip that I said I lost all the footage of putting the distributor back together. So what I've just done is I've pulled the distributor back apart again so I can refilm putting it back together, so I can help you guys out if you need to do this someday. So let's throw this thing in the vise and let's do it. Alright, cool. So I'm all set up here in the vise. All that's already installed is the little shaft seal in here. There was no point me picking that out and damaging it, just to show you guys how to put it back in again. So seals in. I've just got the power transistor bolted to the side and it's just a bare housing. I have greased up the shaft here. Just don't put any grease on the top part, because that's the bit that will actually go through to where your crank angle sensor is and the optical disc, and you don't want any grease or contaminants interfering with the signal or anything like that, because it'll give you timing and sync problems, and that's not what you want. So what I might do is I might just put the shaft in. Sweet. Alright, so there's a little washer that goes underneath the bearing. Just put that in. Bearing will then go in. Another washer on top of the bearing, and then you have your 2 screws that actually hold the bearing down in tight. So I'll put these 2 bad boys in. Snip those up. So as you can see there, that's held that bearing in nice and tight. My shaft is pushed in all the way. It's firm to spin, but it feels good. It's a new bearing, everything like that, so it shouldn't just free spin really easy. It should turn without any restriction, but it should feel firm, not loose and sloppy, because you don't want that. Righto, they're all done up nice and tight. So next step is crank angle sensor in. So just goes in like so. Feed in obviously the plug end through the hole. You got your 3 long screws. Just get them started. Even these Phillips head screws, I find it easier just using a nice flat blade. It just gives a bit better of a bite, and I find that in the past when I've used the Phillips heads, it just doesn't get a nice grip onto them, and when you're pulling them apart you can actually strip these heads pretty easily, because they're always super tight. You don't want to over tighten them too much, just give them a nice little nip so they're not going anywhere. I've never had to use Loctite or anything like that on these things, so they're normally pretty good. Now you got your base plate, I guess, or I call it the base plate, but I guess it's the base plate for your trigger disc. Now this bad boy This is the very, very crucial part. So you don't want to install this thing upside down. One thing I know is that these two and this little I think this is your reference point for the number one cylinder. I know that the flat here needs to be aligned with this one here, and then your actual cutout for your top dead center position is in between. Oh, sneezing, sorry about that. But if you flip it the other way, see how it's totally different? That'll actually give you timing problems if you install that the incorrect way. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. Absolutely crucial. Now, throw this bad boy on. It can only go on one way. Well, I'm coughing a lot. Alright, so I'll just grip the base of the gear. Now that's done up nice and tight. Alright, your little seal. It's got cutouts, so I can only go one way. And then your little plate over the top. Two screws. Don't forget to put your little grounding point on. Get that up. GoPro's in the way. Cool. It's done. Oh, that feels really nice. I'll just check, make sure you guys can still see that. Yep. Alright. So that's all good. Nice and tight. Nothing's going to come loose. Put on this cover. Two more screws. It's pretty straightforward to do this. You can swap the actual crank angle sensors themselves and leave the dizzy in the car. Obviously, that's if you want to do it quickly to get yourself out of a bind and you don't have any issues with your bearing and stuff like that. It's actually really simple. But if you want to pull it all apart and put a new bearing and stuff like that in it, then it obviously has to be out of the car to do that. Cool. Rotor button. This is actually, for those keen eyes, this is actually an R31 Skyline rotor button. Why am I using this? Because I don't know where the other rotor button is. I've got a stack of them somewhere, but for the purpose of this video, it's not going to matter too much. So I'll just throw this in. feels really good. Nice fresh bearing, no play. It'll spin nice and easy off the camshaft. Cool. So I'll show you guys now, or girls, how to install this in the car and get it so you're at top dead center. So let's do that. Alright, so this engine's already set to top dead center. So down here on my harmonic balancer and my lower timing cover, you can see that the top dead center mark is lined up, and then over here you can see my new belt and the top dead center mark on the cam gear is lined up. So I'm good to go there. Yes, I'm missing a bolt there. I've got one laying around somewhere, I'll sort it out, but cool. So then you got to put your dizzy in, right? And your dizzy has to go in a certain way. So if we have a look here, when you insert this distributor, you need to make sure that it lines up with the #1 position on your distributor cap. Now what you'll find is when you put it in to mesh with the gears properly, you'll need to go slightly a certain way, and then so when you push it in, it'll actually engage and grip and then line up in that exact spot. So let's try to do this GoPro situation where I'm doing it with one hand. So alright, so see that? No good. So I've got to pull it back out, turn it a bit, and then go back in. I'm way off. Oh, pretty close there. Alright, so I'll just grab this bolt, just so you know. When you line this thing up and you're going to have it at pretty much 15 degrees, which is your base timing for a VL, your distributor adjustment, and when you tighten that bolt up, it should be roughly in the center. So that way it'll give you full advance and full ignition retard for your adjustment. So that's just a handy tip if you need to slap a dizzy in quickly on the side of the road to get you out of trouble and get you home. Just throw it in the center and you should be pretty good. Now if you have a look at that position of that rotor button, then when I get my cap and I stick it on, see where the rotor button's facing? That's smack on, and that's how you set it up. So you're at top dead center, and when you fire this bad boy up, she's gonna start first go. Well, at least in regards to ignition timing, you should hear it firing and all that kind of stuff, and not hearing crazy like pops and backfires and all that kind of nonsense that you'll know straight away if you have it installed wrong. So there you have it. Hopefully it helps you guys in the future if you need to do this task. Yeah, I just learnt through trial and error over the years, and it's helped me out a treat. For you guys that run the standard dizzies on your VLs, I would suggest, for peace of mind, either carrying a crank angle sensor spare in your glove box, and basic tools so you can swap a crank angle sensor out on the side of the road if you have to get home. Or what I like to do is I like to keep a whole spare distributor, because I find it just a lot quicker and easier to swap out a whole new dizzy on the side of the road. So if I was going to do that, I obviously wouldn't put the whole engine to top dead center and stuff like that, because I wouldn't have all the tools to turn the crank over and stuff. The position that you pull the distributor out, put it straight back into that position with that rotor buttons facing the same way, and you should be sweet. So there you have it, part 2 of the RB30 distributor rebuild. Hope you guys got something out of it. I had a fair few messages from people asking me when I was going to release the part 2. Obviously they were keen to suss it out. They might you know, have some distributors that they need to rebuild themselves. So I hope this video helps those people. And I'm going to continue to try and, you know, not only show you through the builds that I'm doing and the cars, the 2 VLs that I'm working on at the moment, but also just try to show you guys how to do some things. Obviously it's hard to film and get the work done at the same time. It definitely slows me down a bit, but you know, the fact that I could potentially help some other people do what they need to do on their cars, it's what it's all about. So I'm happy to take the extra time for those people who are genuinely interested to learn a few things that they probably don't know how to do. So peace out, see you next time, and yeah, if you got a VL, get it on the road, drive it, enjoy it. It's the best. See ya.